their menus, and yeah, they can manage a lot of things on the extranet.
And regarding, if you have 1,000 venues, how many of them do you think really manage this in order to so that the data you have in there are correct if the room is really available?
That's a very good question. So, some of the inventories that we have, um, not all of them actually very productive yet. I think roughly about when we calculate last time, it was like 25% that is productive to our revenue, and some of them like actively manage their extranet, but some of them sometimes we still need to contact them whenever there is a booking. For example, this venue rarely get booking, but now they get booking, then our sales team will definitely contact them to confirm with the bookings, since we already have an agreement with all of the venue. So we could definitely remind them with that. Yeah.
So can you tell a little bit about your investors? I mean, you started, and who is now owning part of the company? Is there
Oh,
some
that's
of
right.
key employees, or
Yes.
is it your family,
Yes.
friends? So who owns the company?
So right now the company is owned by me and the early partners, and then we get an investors from venture capital. The first one is 500 startups from Silicon Valley, and then we also get from Vanox Venture Capital through GNB Accelerator. They are from Silicon Valley as well, and then we also get some from angel investors, and then also from Ideasource Venture Capital.
And altogether, that was 300,000 US dollars.
Yes, that is correct, and yeah, that's what.
And for these
help us.
300,000, they have convertible,
Yeah, it's in the form of a convertible bond,
and that will lead to 25%.
I think something like that. Yeah, if I don't, if I remember correctly, that's something like that.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you, how much do you own of the company?
Right now, well, I will let you know later. Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, but I still hold the majority shares of the company. So we still have the authority to grow the company,
Yes.
and yeah, that's something that we have right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, and this 2018 we would like to expand our focus in the key cities in Indonesia. We already get some requests in other cities outside Jakarta, like for example Aceh, and there's another. I think there's in Bali, there's in Makassar, like big cities in Indonesia. We started to get requests to that cities, and
Yeah.
we would like to. We see that there's a demand to grow even beyond Jakarta.
I think there is around in big Jakarta 30 million
Yes,
people,
that
and
is
all
correct.
of Jakarta there is more than 200 million. People.
Yes, and in 2017 itself, we have helped about more than I think we have helped more about 15,000 professionals doing their meetings. I think more than that. So like in a month we help roughly about 1,500 to 2,000 professionals meet using our platform, and yeah, most of the people also we found book through our platform is actually secretary, the booker,
yeah.
general affair, HR people. So yeah, that's what we found. It's quite interesting. So we try to see how can we boost our bookings, and reduce also the number of bypass or
Yeah.
direct bookings.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, that's something that we are working on.
And you say that it's mainly the secretaries that are booking.
Yes, That is correct. If it's for big companies, um, typically secretaries, general affairs, HRs. Yeah, for example, like Tokopedia, they book us for a training room, and when they book the training rooms, it's their GA people
Okay.
who actually book it. And the typical for companies, they want to pay later because they need approval from the finance and then the another finance. So we try to think how can we solve this problem to become an added value to use our platform. And this is very unique because I think Indonesian companies are quite different than the behavior I learned in the US. I think and here is a more a bit tricky. Like we initially we launched with a credit card, with credit card payment, but then the traction is very low. But when we open another payment channel, it drives the bookings. So we try to find those key elements that could drive the market as well. The key in Indonesia is localization.
Yeah.
If you see, there's a company called Gojek in Indonesia. It's extremely good, extremely localized. So if you see, they accept bank transfer, and they have a GoPay. GoPay is like PayPal.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it is why GoPay is so famous. Now they are the third largest fund management in Indonesia.
Yeah.
GoPay, it's like PayPal.
Yeah, and they started like Gojek
They
with
started
these small
Gojek.
scooters.
Yes. How do you get it? They very localized. How localized is it? You go to the Gojek driver, you can top up. You can top up the GoPay using the Gojek driver. It's extremely localized. Uber, Grab never does this something like this in here. And then you can order GoFood, order the food also very easily.
But here in this hotel, for example, there is meeting facilities, and I've talked to them. They would like to have to have a platform like this, so you can.
Oh,
this is a new
definitely.
customer for you.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
So, but do you know how big the market is? In have you done some calculation about how big this market would be here in Indonesia? The meeting, how big this market would be?
So we did some market research earlier. We go to each hotel. We go to we also partner with co-working space. We go to co-working spaces. How much actually each month they generate for their revenue, and then from there we try to calculate how much from their meeting and event spaces, and it comes up that roughly in a month in Indonesia it's about 70 to 80 million dollars per month in terms of revenue that the hotel generates from the co-working space and from the meeting rooms at the service offices. So so that's something that that we found, but that's a monthly revenue. And so if it's
In Jakarta or in Indonesia?
that's in Indonesia. In Indonesia. So if we multiply that into per year, then it would roughly be about 70 million multiplied by 12, 840 million is the transactions occurring every month in Indonesia. So that's something that we calculate, but that's an estimation because data is not transparent in Indonesia. We don't have that many sources yet to acquire data. So yeah, that's the best number that we could get.
Yeah.
And yeah, we know that there are 10,000 hotels minimum in Indonesia. A lot of them in Bali, and a lot of the company likes to do company gatherings outside of Jakarta. They like to do retreats, seminar, trainings. They also like to do a product launching. They like to do press conference, and those are the typical things that they do in the meeting and event spaces.
Did you so far see that there's any competitors for you here in?
Yeah, we saw a competitor earlier. It was Venue Kita, I think, and there's also another one, Mid Desk and stuff like that. But I think they don't get any funding yet. So now the one that get funding is Xwork. So we still number one in terms of meeting room platform in Indonesia.
And why did you make meeting rooms? I saw different others here in Indonesia that made more co-work spaces.
Yeah, very good question. So, a lot of the people actually make co-working spaces, and it's a crowded place. And I decided because it was initially the expertise in my family also operate an event space and meeting room. So, we started with that. Yeah.
And that your family is that's a church.
Yeah, my family, my dad also operates a church, and
Is he a pastor?
yeah, he's a pastor as well. Yeah, in a church called MDC Jakarta. Yeah, and
That's
yeah,
a Pentecostal like church.
yes,
Okay.
something like that
Christian
with a
church.
band. Yeah, and
That's quite unusual because most people here are Muslims.
yeah, most people here are Muslim.
What's the background for that? That your family is not
Christian.
Muslim?
So my dad, he used to be a Buddhist, and but then he got sick, and then he went to a church in Singapore. I think it was a Kong Hee Church, and then God healed him during that time, and he believed in Christianity, and he converts in Christian, and he wants to devote himself to become a pastor.
Wow.
And that's his life story. He has
What,
helped.
what the year was that?
It was, I think it was in 1990s, something like, yeah, 1990 or 1989. Yeah, and then so he's a disabled, but since God has used him since God has healed him, now God is using him um, to serve many people. Sometimes people see him like, oh, a disabled guy, but he has a good spirit. Then why I'm a normal guy, but I don't have a good spirit? You know, I'm full of sadness and stuff like that. So my dad could be an example, could be set an example for them, and yeah, he taught me a lot also about leadership and that's a lot of things I apply also in the company.
So this church is here in Jakarta.
Yeah, in Jakarta, it's they have about like 1,000 people coming regularly every week.
Oh, is there a meeting tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I
every
must have the
Sunday.
address so I can go to the meeting.
Maybe you could check. Yeah, it's in Sleepy in West Jakarta. It's a chain, church chain across Indonesia. Yeah.
So he made that.
He wasn't the initiator of the whole chain, but
Okay.
he's just the
The
initiator
local one.
in Jakarta.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one in Bandung, there's one in Surabaya, there's one in Singapore, many chains.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. So that was my story. Yeah.
And the service is not in English. What is
No,
the
no.
translation?
Not yet. Yeah, we
Okay.
don't have it yet. It's in Indonesian. Yeah, and yeah. So yeah, that's how we got started, and Ip invited me to a meeting today and introduced me to Gaest.com, and he said he invited me as well to a trip to Denmark.
Yes.
So we will see how it goes, and we'll see what we think about it. And he also shared to me about the vision of Guest to be a global platform, number one in the world, and can be a value added and stuff like that. And so we definitely are thinking about it, and I will discuss with my partners, and we see what value added we can collaborate, and maybe what are the possibilities as well. So let me know if you have any other questions. If you shoot me an email to william@xwork.co, or my WhatsApp number. You can ask from Ip, and definitely will look forward into what we can do together.